Hey everybody, welcome to Amazu world. So while the baby is sleeping, I just wanted to come and talk to you guys pretty much about my different experiences with breastfeeding. I have 4 children. My ages range from my oldest 12 down to my newest addition, who is 9 months now. And each experience was different. I mean, from birth to breastfeeding, everything was different. But I'm gonna just talk about, breastfeeding for now. One day I actually am going to discuss the birthing, because yeah, I learned a lot with those too. But anyway, so with my oldest baby girl, I was 21 when I had her, and pretty much I didn't really know much about breastfeeding. I did know that I wanted to breastfeed. I knew that that was something that I was interested in doing. I knew it was like the best for my baby, but I didn't really have no guidance, you know what I mean? So when I had her, I was always busty, so for me, it was kind of difficult nursing. Now I'm a pro, and I embrace me being busty, nursing. But at that time, I did not know how to utilize the size of my boobs. So when I was pumping, I used to try to pump with both, like a dual pump. I don't even think I had the right size, little nipple shields and stuff, like the pump. Like when I think about this stuff now, I just don't. I had no knowledge, y'all. And I didn't have a lot of people around me, you know what I mean, who supported me enough. So basically, I only nursed for the first 6 weeks, and I did not nurse directly. I pumped and put it in the bottle, and I gave it to her. And then I pretty much just gave up because, as I used to always say, she didn't like nursing, and I didn't like nursing her. You know what I mean? Like, we just both didn't like it. We didn't agree with it. Now, of course, looking back, that's clearly not the case. Had I had the right guidance and knew about latching and knew about, the different tools and equipment that come with the pump and all that wonderful stuff, if I knew more about the birth controls, it would have been a lot more better then. So that was my first. Unfortunately, she did get on Similac. Because even then, even with the formulas, I didn't even know much about that. So Similac is what, WIC gave. I was on WIC at that time. That's what, I gave her. And I'm always looking at her because she was like, Mom, you didn't even care about me. And I told her, you were my first baby. You were my experiment baby. I was learning. I was young. I didn't really have, like I said, my grandmother, she tried. But at the end of the day, I just didn't have it. Like now I have like a whole breastfeeding circle and all that stuff, and my husband's like phenomenal. So, but yeah, so that was my first. So boom, she was on formula, Similac at all formulas. That's what my baby was on, but we did manage for 6 weeks. It was a struggle, and I was on depot at that time too, actually. So my milk supply decreased. Again, these are things I didn't really know, at that time when it came to that. So it was a learning process. Then with my son, 7 years later, I had my son who is now 5. And at this point, I was way more determined to breastfeed, and I'm just like, oh no, I have to breastfeed him. This is it. Well, we did really good. He actually latched amazing, in a hospital. He did awesome. Unfortunately, though, even at this point, I still didn't really know or recognize the effects that birth control have, on your milk supply. So when he turned 4 weeks, I had an emergency surgery. I had to get my appendix taken out. It had began to burst open. It was seeping through. And he had just turned 4 weeks. This was so crazy. And I went there. They hurried up, rushed me in there and everything. Took care of that. I was on some pain meds and whatnot. So I couldn't nurse him. So I was pumping and dumping. But I had also, shortly after that, I got a shot of Depo. Again, things I did not know. And my milk supply decreased really, really bad. Really bad. And I just was like, you know what? Forget it. I didn't know. I gave up. But the difference at this point is that I knew I didn't want to do Similac. That was just something I did. I knew I didn't. I wanted to do the Good Start, which is that even still out? I don't even know if it is or not. I don't think I've seen it around. But anyway, I did Good Start. So we paid out of pocket for that because Wick at this point was going back to Similac. There was a point where they actually were doing Good Start, and then I don't know, I guess their contract changed or whatever the case may be, but they were going back to Similac, and I knew I didn't want to give him Similac, so we went with the Good Start. But then my crazy self gave him soy milk because he kept spitting up, like, and I just didn't understand it, and I'm just like, what's wrong? Not realizing, like, babies their stomach's really not strong enough for formula, you know what I mean? It's not until over time they, get accustomed to it, but at that time he was breastfed for a very long time, so when I switched over, he didn't digest it well. So I did soy milk for like a week, like a crazy lady, not knowing not to give that to a little boy. Like, the doctor was just like, no, that's like last resort, blah, blah, blah. So, of course I heard him stop that. I felt so bad, like, oh my God, my son is going to have too much estrogen. Like, I had a whole meltdown. I had a whole meltdown. And to this day, he's so sensitive. My baby is so sensitive. They always be like, that's because you gave him that soy milk. I'm like, that soy milk had nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? But nonetheless, lesson learned there. Never, ever, ever do soy milk for a boy unless you absolutely have to. I just don't. You know what I mean? But we did do the Good Start, which, oh my God, that was so expensive. We paid out of pocket. It was what it was. I wanted the best for him, as best as it can get at that point. But then when I had my 2-year-old, who's now 2, at that point, my husband did a lot of research, and he was bent on us nursing, and so was I. I just was like, I am not giving him a formula. Like, I seen what it did with, my son, just the whole trials and the throwing up. My oldest, she always threw up, y'all. I mean, like not just no little bit, but a whole lot, like always. And so, with my youngest 2, I was just determined, y'all. They couldn't tell me nothing. I was just like, I am not giving my baby formula. I refuse to give my children formula, like, at this point. And when I had her, we struggled so bad with my milk supply. And so, like, in the beginning, now, like I said, I have a lot more support. So we were trying all different types of things. And a few things that I've learned along this was, one, for me, now I don't know nobody knows, but for me, it was a negative to be trying to start a weight loss journey. Because at this point, I was definitely trying to lose weight at the same time. Baby girl, take that train downstairs, honey. Please, take it downstairs. I know it's you. Yes, thank you. Take it downstairs. Ask your brother to help you. Be careful. They have this train track, and she wants to take it downstairs, and it, goes around and whatnot. But yeah, so anyway, with her, I learned about Depo. I learned about the different birth controls affecting your milk. That was not spoken to me in the hospital prior to, but I began to, research and learn that. So I did not get on no Depo. I knew not to do that anymore. And, hold on one second, y'all. Okay, so yeah, so anyway, I learned about the Depo, how it really does affect your milk, and your milk supply can decrease with it. So I did not get on no Depo this time. I didn't get on any birth control at this point, to be honest, because I was just so nervous. I didn't want anything else to mess with my milk. And then also, I learned more about pumping my milk and nursing, like getting her latch in order. So we made sure that we worked on her latch. We did all types of things, like her latch, but her weight was still really petite. But it didn't matter. They was, saying, oh, just give her a little bit of formula. I refused. I was like, there's no way I'm giving formula again. Like, I'm just not. We are going to get this breastfeeding down packed, and she's going to have the best. That was my mindset, and my husband. So we did fenugreek, and that seemed to help a little bit. Like, we did the mother's milk tea. That seemed to help a little bit. I feel like any hot tea was really helping because it just made your milk flow at that point. It's like getting in the shower with warm water and stuff. And, let me see. And, I did power pumping. So I would do pump for like an hour. I would just like pump, like break for 10 minutes, then pump again for like, 10 minutes on each. And that really helped. That was like a lifesaver, actually, doing the power pumping. And that increased our milk. And I used to put, when my nipples was really sore, we went through everything, I would just use the coconut oil, because then we realized about the lanolin, it being, with the sheep and all other stuff, and it just was gross to me, so I didn't want to do it. I'm like, why not? And she needed the extra fat, so I did the coconut oil, and that really was a game changer, y'all. Oh my goodness. So I put the coconut oil before I nursed, I put the coconut oil after I nursed. And like to this day, my 2-year-old can literally just eat up some coconut oil. I mean, she loves it. So that actually helped her weight. I drank a lot of water. Coconut water was my best friend. Once I began to increase my coconut water, my milk flowed way better. So she was getting milk. Like at this point, like I said, I had more support. I was learning different tips and tricks, and it worked. She made it all through. We nursed until 17 months. So that was amazing, because in the first few months, it was just like, I don't know where we were going with that and whatnot, but we did it. Like I said, the coconut water was a huge thing. The mother's milk tea, I drank that often. I did not get on any form of birth control, which, my beautiful little Amina hair. That's where my baby comes from there. But we were actually trying for Amina, because I just wanted a boy and I wanted to be, like done or whatnot. But nonetheless, we have, I didn't get pregnant with her. We miscarried actually in the middle of that ordeal. My daughter was, before she turned 1, we did get pregnant, and then I miscarried. And I know that had a lot to do with the fenugreek that I was taking along with breastfeeding and whatnot. My period didn't start until way late, like 7 or 8 months. So, and then that's when all that started happening. But we made it through. It was when I began to lose weight quick. Like I remember one time I lost weight within literally a week, I lost 5 pounds. And this is when I first started my journey again back then. And she was about 6 months at the time. And I was just like, oh no, like my milk supply decreased like drastically within that moment. And it was just like, So I didn't start my weight loss journey again until she was about 9 months and on. And then I wasn't working out as hard, but I was working out, and I was going to the gym at the time. And I began intermittent fasting around that time, and she was fine because she was eating solids at that point. So that was a lesson for me. So when I had Amina, our newest baby girl, I knew not to focus on my weight in the very beginning. I just was like, no, I'm not going to mess with that. Also, I already knew about the coconut oil. That actually helped my milk come in too. Like as soon as I put coconut oil on my nipples, y'all, or a little bit of black seed oil mixed with coconut oil, my milk would just start dripping. Like, and it's just, that's something. And so I used that, and I learned at this point, because with Layla, my now 2-year-old, I didn't know to pump in the beginning. I really did not know to really pump, more consistently. So with Amina, I pumped much more consistently in the beginning. Like as soon as I had her, I was pumping. We were nursing her, directly. What you need, boo-boo? No, y'all aren't playing it right now. And I told you guys that though. I understand that, but you have to play that outside. So with her, I pumped consistently in the first few months. I didn't continue to pump. After a while, I was done pumping because my milk supply at that point, I had enough of it. I made sure at this point to eat, just eat, not focus on my weight. Pretty much that's what I did. I ate. I didn't focus on my weight. I ate all my carbs, all my fat, all my veggies, I did increase my my veggie intake, my spinach intake. I always take my iron pills if I don't eat enough spinach, because that plays a role. And like I said, pumping, I learned to do that more. And then also with her, I just enjoyed breastfeeding. I did not stress about anything else, y'all, and it made a world of difference. Of course, we always did skin to skin. I did that with my 2-year-old as well. And then that, of course, made a big difference. So I learned a lot from my 2-year-old struggle. So this is my chunkiest baby breastfeeding, y'all. And I love every bit of it. So now, fast forward, she is 9 months now. We did baby-led weaning. So we skip purees altogether because, of course, they don't need to really eat anything until they're 6 months. Like there's so many studies going on. They go back and forth, but it always comes back to they shouldn't have anything until 6 months because later on they have stomach issues, when they get older and whatnot. So I waited until she was 6 months. I introduced her to whatever we eat, any vegetables we eat and whatnot. But the great thing about it is that she already had her weight going on for her, and I always kept my coconut water. I keep water. I'm always drinking water, y'all. Like, that is like the biggest thing that I've learned is to drink water, stay hydrated, and my coconut oil. The coconut water, the coconut oil, and no birth control. They do have a non-hormonal birth control that I do believe works great, but I just opt out of any of it just to keep my body going with her. And then also with intermittent fasting, I know to make sure they still eat enough. You know what I mean? Like, I have big portions. If you see what I eat in a day, you'll notice that I eat what I want to eat. I eat my portions. I make sure that I have enough fat. I make sure that I have enough spinach, vegetables, whatever it is that I need. I make sure that I have my protein in there. And so I stay full longer. And so she's getting enough fat in her milk, as well. I don't eat avocados as much as I used to because, I don't know, I got burnt out a little bit. So I always cook with avocado oil. Everything I do, I cook with avocado oil. If I'm frying, if I'm sauteing, if I'm whatever. There's avocado oil somewhere in there. So I'm making sure I have enough fats. I'm making sure I have enough water. And we drink almond milk and all that fun stuff. So I've learned a lot. Over the course of these 4 babies, it was a struggle. From formula to the Similac to the Good Start to breastfeeding, then the surgery to the depot, knowing never again would I do that. You know what I mean? But it's all about support too. Like, that was a huge difference over the course of these years with my children, was about the support and just learning and hearing different moms and feeding off of each other and growing, and also knowing if you need to do formula, it's okay too. But for me, for my last 2, I was determined. Do you hear what I'm saying, y'all? I was determined to breastfeed exclusively. I just refused, and because of that, I pushed. They are both awesome, and now I'm she's chunky. I enjoy it. I embrace it, and I'm okay with relaxing, because there was times where I used to cry because I just felt like I couldn't get nothing done around the house. Like, I was just like, I don't know what you want me to do. And, I'm a stay-at-home mom, so my husband's always at work. He's gone throughout the day, and then I still have the other children. It was just stressful in the beginning, but with Amina, I'm just like, you know what? When she wants to eat, that's what it is. We're going to sit, we're going to relax, and she's going to nurse. And I'm going to eat all my food. Even with intermittent fasting, I eat all my food, my fat. I'm getting away from sweets. I still eat them, but not as much as I used to. If you see what I eat in a day, you know what I mean? I had sweet every day in a nice amount. So yeah, so I just wanted to share my breastfeeding journeys, with all my children, and just encourage everyone out there to keep pushing, go through all different types of options before you decide on something if you don't want to do. But if you do, like I said, if you do want to do the formulas, there's so many different formulas out there now. You could look into whatever works best for you and your baby and whatnot. But I wish you all the best. I hope this helps somebody out there. Stay strong, stay encouraged, enjoy your little ones as I am. And, much love and peace. See ya.